Okay, great. Cameo Sherrell. I got the name right, right?
Yes, Cameo
Okay.
Sherrell.
I promise you, every video I do that with everyone, and I probably should do it prior, but I think it just makes a funny intro just in case.
Yep, Cameo Sherrell.
Well,
All the groups.
I really do enjoy you and the Black Hamptons, and I love the character. I love what you have to go through because your character is one of those people where it's like, look, I'm in this community, but I'm kind of like I could always be on my way out too if I don't do right. And people, and I think that's one of the realest type of characters because most people are in that position. You know, no one's usually born into the money or founded their way into money. So, so before we get into learning more about you, tell me that about that character and how it felt just to like, bring it to life.
It was really great to bring it to life. One of the biggest things was my love for Vanessa Bell Calloway. Just to be in the same scene with her was just mind blowing. It was really a full 180. Because one of my favorite movies is What's Love Got to Do with It?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that one scene, they eat the cake scene in the cafe. I know everybody's part. Okay, let me just start there.
Yeah.
So it was to be in the scene with her. I was like, this is legit mind blowing. Yeah. So there was always that me just admiring her from that standpoint, but also from the standpoint of my character Leslie as her niece, right? Because I want to do well for her. I want to make sure that I'm doing things for her because that's she's my family and I know how she is, you know. But unfortunately, I dropped the ball in the first episode of not.
Well,
letting her know.
I'm coming to your defense. I'm gonna tell BT Plus and even Vanessa Bancalli. Anyone who has a question, you were sidetracked, and people.
I was very sidetracked. That's what you call pillow talk, you know.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So it's like one of those things where you're like, you know what? I can drop the ball if it was all in my court, but sidetracking is I can't predict sidetracking.
I can't predict sidetrack. And maybe if she would have let me know that she wanted the property, and if I was, involved in a lot of the family meetings, then I wouldn't have dropped the ball. I'm just saying.
Exactly. And it's funny because you are in this particular situation where I look at the character and they ask you to do all these things that impede on your own marriage. And you're like, look, the difference is, yes, I'm your niece, and yes, I'm a part of the family, but you guys fighting with each other is different than when you're trying to ask me to go fight with my husband too. Now you're asking me to, so I see within these 4 episodes, I'm like, she is the only one having to do the dirty work because everybody else make a call. You gotta finagle your husband to do stuff.
This is true. This is very, very true. But in Vanessa, and not Vanessa, but I'm sorry, but in Carolyn's world, family comes first.
Yeah. And
I'm there for 2 reasons: to inform her and to keep the Black Hamptons Black.
You are the Black agent. She said, look, we're going to keep it Black on Black.
That's it.
Oh, man, I love it. I love it. You're not new to the industry, right? So that's the thing. We go to IMDb, you got your credits. You've been putting in your work. When did this start for you? When did this I want to be an actress, I want to take it to that next level, and I'm gonna do it?
Well, it started I feel like I got in the game a little late. So I'm born and raised in Florida. I moved to New York in 2006 to pursue acting. So I started out modeling when I was back in Florida in Orlando. I was in school and I took a semester. Well, that was supposed to be me taking a semester off. And one of my closest friends, who I'm very close with to this day, she was like, so you're not going to school? So what you going to do? I'm like, well, I'm working. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what I want to do. And my mom started being modeling since I was like 5. So I was doing that here and there, but it's not like, it wasn't paying anything at the time. And so she was like, well, you need to figure it out. You can't be like a deadbeat girl. And I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. And I was watching What Love Got to Do. And I was like, man, I was so in awe of the way, Angela Bassett transformed into Tina Turner. And I was like, this is freaking amazing. I want to do this. And so I looked up an acting class in Orlando, and it was Lisa Maley School of Modeling and Acting, which I had heard of before because I was in the modeling world.
Yeah.
But she had like one scene study class, and I went into the class, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. So I packed up my car and I shipped myself in my car and my clothes to New York in 2006, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you finish your degree, or you
I did. I eventually got my associates in business, which is helpful now because I started my own production company. I also started a production company with a few of my friends, which is also great. So I'm using it.
Y'all are killing it when it comes to productions, and we'll get that on later. But I promise you, but Black women are intent on like controlling and changing the narrative to like
Absolutely.
perspective. So I just think it's such a beautiful and intentional, and it's a time, you know what I mean? Because we've had the Spike Lees and recipes John Singleton, but we haven't had the Black women at the fold because we don't know what major motion pictures can look like from your narrative until now with Ava and Issa.
Correct. It's much needed. Yeah.
So when you left, right, and you have all these other people telling you, girl, you are not about to be no deadbeat. How did you, with this pressure and leaving with no plan of action, but just saying, I'm going to make it. What was the thing that like gave you that to like say, I don't care, I know I can do it?
It's so funny because like back then, I don't think I was aware of what I was doing and how I was moving through life on faith. But I'm a doer, right? Like I'll get an idea and I would like do it, not really having like a plan on how to do it. But I feel like that's one of my strengths, which can also be it can be an issue sometimes with just not being able to plan things out. But I think that's a really great characteristic about myself. It's just that I'm a doer. I get an idea and I'm like, I'm just going to do it. But with all of that, I think just how I was raised, because I was brought up in the church. So like, I told my girlfriend, I had this conversation. I was like, I feel like I just been moving through life like on blind faith, right? Like I didn't know that I was moving on faith. I was just doing things.
Yeah.
And it was like, now I know, looking back, I was like, every step that I was making was a faith step.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was going to do anything. I just felt in my spirit that this is what I wanted to do. So I moved on that. And that's a struggle. It's still a struggle to this day, but then you just you just have to remind yourself, like, I don't think God would have put any of this in my spirit if this wasn't something that I was supposed to be doing. Nice. So like I say, everything that I have been doing has been like a faith move. Yeah.
No, I love that, especially because, I would love to ask, how do you move on faith, right? Blind or intentional faith, and cancel out all the noise, especially because you're in such a tough industry where you don't know when your next gig is coming from, the people you meet maybe on motion pictures, and you're just waiting to get, you know what I mean? How do you cancel all of that and continue in faith without ever feeling the burden to, do more, move the way you should move, you know what I mean? Like, because you're just like, man, I need to get there.
Man, I think that that's something that I've learned the past since COVID happened, right? Like, because I was like, I'm not doing I should be doing something. But there's also a rest period, right? Because at the end of the day, you realize that we don't have control over anything. Nothing that we do, we can do all the planning that we want. Like, God is in control, period, point blank. And once you realize that, then you have the peace of being like, it's going to happen in God's time. Because no matter what I do, and I'm not saying that you should just be sitting around not doing anything, but I was one of those people that I was constantly trying to make my career happen based off of me, off of me. Like, I can do this because I'm the one that can control this.
Yeah.
And that's just Child, that's just not true, you know? And canceling out the noise is just a constant reminder. It's a constant thing that you have to remind yourself, like God is in control. What does his word say? You know, you have to remind yourself it's a journey. You have to love this craft wholeheartedly and unconditional because it's so inconsistent. It's so up and down. You don't know when you're like, you get one job and when that job is wrapped, you're unemployed again, you know? So I think some of the things that's just like, that has helped me is creating my own things, writing my own scripts and figuring that, directing my art, collaborating with other people. I think that also helps a lot. And just really being okay with God's timing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm saying all this because I live this. One day I might be saying this to you, the next day I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? But it's just like, you know what? Well, you said this is what you said. So you already know what's going on with me now. You put me in this position. I'm believing that it's gonna work out.
Guys.
So
I think that's such a powerful thing to say, because I was talking to a girlfriend of mine one time. She was going for a job and she said, oh, I feel like I have imposter syndrome and all these things. I said, the problem is you're tying your success to external things. I said, your success should be driven in internally, because you should be just successful for being alive. You should be successful for just trying. I said, because external validation comes from if you get the right part or if you get the job or you
correct.
but you're not the one making that choice. So you have to find a way to understand how you can internally always feel secure, but always be honest and not let those emotions overtake you. And she was like, oh my gosh, can you be there when I'm going through this? I said, no, because you go through it a lot. But no, yeah. I think it's so important, because then you have peers, and especially in the entertainment industry, you have people that trajectory sometimes change and yours change, and because people see you on there. So how do you stay centered through it all? The down periods are the periods where, everyone's hyping you up, like, oh, that's my girl, Sherrell, she owns the show. And then it's like 6 months later, Sherrell, what you doing? And you're like, planning.
I'm like, people ask all the time, oh, what's next? I'm just working on working. I say that all the time. I'm working on working. I think one of the most important thing is, I think one big thing that plays a huge part in how we feel is social media, right? So like you say, like you see your peers that are like doing well or booking or whatever the case may be. And subconsciously, those things can affect you, especially if you're not in a good space with yourself, right? So I think it's really just knowing, figuring out what brings you peace and what brings you happy in your definition of success. Because like I said, I love acting in its entirety. It's not just about like me booking something. If I can work on a project and I'm being a producer, that's freaking phenomenal. That's great. If I can write a project, work on a project, and I'm the wardrobe stylist, I love that as well. So, but going back to social media, I think social media plays a huge part on it. So I think taking breaks from social media, like right now, I'm not on social media. I do every month, I take a week off from social media. I don't touch it. And I think that helps, so center yourself back to who you are and what you want, your intentions and all of those things. And really just taking your time to be by yourself and figure it out, I think that's really important, to just take time to yourself and find out what makes you happy outside of acting. Because those are things that I think that makes you successful. I'm not saying that money, a check.
You got bills and you need to eat.
Okay. Let's be clear. But also, I think, having your peace of mind, and yeah, just really focusing on what makes you happy and doing those things that makes you happy outside of acting.
Nice.
I
I feel
think that's
like you
really
talk to
important.
God a lot. I feel like you be having conversations with God.
Listen, man,
I feel
you
like
go
y'all be
way
having
back.
rap
Like I be like,
sessions.
okay, I'm just saying, like, what we doing, and my conversations be just like this.
Yeah. I saw there was a content creator made this like little skit reel where it said me calling God 5 minutes after checking on the things I left in his hand.
Right. You said
you said you gonna take care of it, right? You said
you
in the
come right
midnight
on
hour.
time. I may not come. What time is it? What time?
Oh, I love that. So when now you as a producer, director, scriptwriter, why was this the next progression for you in your career?
I think it happened because I was frustrated with not booking, not auditioning, not booking. So I was like, man, like I'm just really sitting around waiting for somebody to create an opportunity for me to work.
Yeah.
I can do something more.
Mm-hmm. I like
You know, I can do something more. There's something else that I have ideas. I'm like, I don't really consider myself a writer. I did write and direct my first short back in 2018, which I think I did an amazing job with for the first time. But I was like, I can't sit around and just wait for something to just fall in my lap, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it just really goes back to just like create just finding out those things that make you happy. Like I said, I love film in its entirety. So if I'm not in front of the camera, that's okay.
Yeah.
If I could do something behind the camera as well, like I'm here for that.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it happened. You know, just was sitting around waiting, and I was getting frustrated with that, and I was like, "Well, this is dumb." So I can't. I'm not auditioning. I'm in class, but I'm not auditioning. I'm in class and I'm getting new headshots, but I'm not booking anything.
No.
What can I do? Well, you say you want to be an actor, then just act. Write something. Whether it's, doing recreating a reel on, social media, or writing a scene or writing a short film or whatever the case may be, you know, figure it out. So that helps. It really, really does help. So now I'm not caught up on, dang, I haven't got an audition, because there's other stuff going on in my life outside of my manager or agent calling me to say you booked or you have an audition.
Nice. I love that. And it also it opens up opportunities for other people to see other facets about you too.
Correct.
And you actually creating, or if you're collaborating with other people and you're acting in an indie, a short film, even if someone's like a friend's just like, hey, I would love for you to do that. The thing is, it also lets you not have to worry about, because those roles are all finite. They start, they stop, and then they're in particular realms, right? And then some people
Mhm.
book you because they feel like you can portray this type of character. Probably 9 times out of 10, it's like a certain character that people love seeing you, but now you're able to, expand yourself.
Yeah.
And with that expansion, do you ever feel there is a sense of, I would say, necessity for you to be versatile and really showcase, like, the 6 types of actresses that Cameo can be?
As far as be versatile in like as like acting only, or versatile in like being in front of the camera and behind the camera?
In acting only, like comedic, a little bit more serious, fighter, or do you like to stick in one type of like lane or genre?
No.
I'm glad I asked this question.
And it's so funny because I I love action film. I love comedy. I want to fight somebody. I want to be an assassin. I want to do all those things. I want to be a vampire. I want to do all those things. And if you ask any actor, they'll be like, I can do everything.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do that. But some people don't see you that way. That's how you get booked, right? You're basically are getting booked based off of how people see you.
Yeah.
But I think it is important, like, to be very versatile. And which really goes back to like, because I wanted to be an assassin, I was like, okay, I created I helped wrote this scene just for my reel where I'm like kicking this girl butt.
Yeah.
So that they can see that like I'm not just this, because I get booked for a lot of drama.
Yeah.
You know, and I love drama. I'm here for it for sure. But like I think I'm hilarious, right? I'm hilarious. I can fight. Like to book me for something like that.
I could be a witch. I could do some spells on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to do all those things. And so, but yes, I think it is very important for you to showcase every aspect of talent that you have for sure. To let them know, like, I'm not just this, one lane actor. I'm an actor.
Nice. And now that you said the whole that you get booked for a lot of drama, right? And I noticed that in your career. Why do you think that when writers write this character, right, and then the directors, the casting director, they're having all of you come in a room and film, like, bring it to life? Why do you think that they go, Cameo, she could do that? Like, you can go for anything else, but it's that drama part, something about it. What do you bring? And it's a good thing, but then it's like, oh, okay, I can also be funny too, y'all. But what do you feel like you just this effervescentness about what you do that they go, she needs to be in the drama. She needs to be in that type of thing.
Yeah. I think that it just really boils down to like really just bringing a part of yourself to it. And as an actor, I think everybody does that as an actor, like or at least they should be doing that, bringing a part of themselves to that role. And when you do that, I mean, sometimes you might not be right for the role, but doesn't mean you didn't kill the audition.
Yeah,
you know,
I like that. I like that. That's something that people should probably, a lot of actresses should hear.
Yes, just because you didn't book it does not mean you didn't kill the audition. But I think what it boils down to is just like, oh, like she killed that audition, and then what was it about her that outbeat everybody else? And it was like, I don't know, but something about her, and that something is just you being yourself.
Yeah. So do you feel like you bring a little, are you a little spicy? Like you like that drama in your own life? Do you?
I mean, I'm a little spicy. I wouldn't say I like drama, but I will say that, I'm absolutely a little spicy. But I think that I think life experiences, we're able to pull from life experiences, giving, the scenario. But also our imagination is amazing. I can imagine anything and it'll trigger emotion in me.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, I probably went through something pretty similar. That's where substitution comes in. So, yeah.
So you make it believable because of that. I think that's the thing. So it's like you said, where some people may kill the part, but then they're like, but I believe her. And I've heard like when you hear when I've had other interviews with people who are in the director's chair, right? They say that it's about the believability. That's what they want the most out of an actor, is the believability. You don't want it to feel like you're reading off the script, and you're
reading off the page.
Exactly. Like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know if Cameo's playing Cameo right now or if that is the role, but I'm here.
I'm here for it. Exactly. That does just add a little razzle dazzle.
A little razzle dazzle to it. What part of you do you bring into each character? What is that one thing that you feel like you bring that is like Cameo from you? Like that little razzle dazzle you do too. And when you read a script and you like, I'm pulling or I'm substituting, but this is a little bit of that's a Cameo touch.
I think it just really depends on what's going on with the character, honestly. Like I said, with Blackhamptons, Carolyn Britton is like what is it? Matriarch? What is it? How do you pronounce the word?
Yeah.
Matriarch. Yeah. And I felt the same way about Vanessa Bell Calloway. I've watched this lady on my screen for years, So even though I did drop the ball, I'm going to do everything in my power to try and fix it. And I think that's
normal life though, right? That sounds like, because it literally is like something you just told me. It's like a kind of full circle moment. I always like to look where it ties in. you were talking about you went through this thing where you weren't booking. And so you said, how can I fix this?
How
And
can I
so it's
fix
like
it?
you're a little bit of a fixer in your own life.
Mhm. Oh yeah, absolutely. But again, I really think it just really depends on the role, right? Because as a human being, we're all layered. We're all different people, and when we're talking to someone, depending on who we're talking to, who we're speaking with, depending on the situation, we're different. There's different things that come out of us all the time, right? So depending on what the situation is, or what the scene is, or the character, who knows? But I try to, and I'm really just like really not really learned that, because there were there was times before when I would get an audition, I would read the breakdown, and with the breakdown it tells you like it would describe the character, right? And I would immediately, okay, this character, it says that she is naive, and so now I'm trying to play this part, right? I'm trying to play exactly what they wrote on the breakdown. And I felt like that's why I wasn't really being 100% happy with my auditions, because I was so busy trying to play what they wrote instead of bringing part of me to those roles. Now I get an audition, I'm like, okay, it say this, this, and this, and I was like, right, but I'm gonna interpret it how I interpret it,
Right.
and I'm gonna go this way, right? And I feel so much better. I'm way more confident in my auditions. And honestly, I have to thank my acting coach, Sarah Mornell. She's the one who taught me that. She's great. She'd be like, okay. And she was so good at like calling me out, like when I was in class. And she was like, is that how you're feeling right now? Is that part of, would Cameo say this like this? And I was like, because they're looking for the character 100%, but with the essence of you.
Yeah.
And I just have to, like, I have to remind myself of that. And sure enough, like I said, I feel way more confident in my auditions. I'm not like over taping myself over and over again with the auditions, because I'm like, let me do it again, let me do it again, let me do it again, let me do it again. No. And I'm so great. Let me tell you, it took how many years I've been doing this? It took 10 years for me to get to this space, because I would obsess over my auditions. And God, I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the peace now. I will say that. I'm so grateful for the peace now.
Nice.
It's a great space to be in.
No, I love that. We all need peace. Well,
yeah.
we're conscious of our time. So I just have one last question. What advice would you want to give someone who is in your shoes, or someone who wants to be in your shoes one day?
If acting is really what you love, if this is what you love wholeheartedly, don't stop. Just keep going.
Nice.
Don't stop. Keep going. And it'll all work out.
Nice.
Eventually, it will all work out.
I love that last part. Eventually, like I said, don't stop, but don't mean don't stop and then be like, okay, I'll stop in this 2 weeks.
Yeah. Because there's been times, listen, you be like, okay, what I'm doing, Lord, what we doing? What we doing? Because what we doing? What's up?
This ain't it. This don't seem like it's working. And I don't know, you got the message wrong when I told you I wanted to be working. I'm like, did you think that was like more suggestive? I was kind of like, more so I was assertive with that. But maybe let's have another talk again. Maybe we need to per my last email. Per my last email.
Per my last email. Did you not get it? Did you not get it?
Wait, let me check if it was a typo. Maybe I said it the wrong. Did I talk in a passive voice?
That's hilarious. Exactly. All of those things. Yeah, it'll work out. Eventually, it'll all work out.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Cameo. This has been amazing. I've enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I absolutely enjoyed. Thank you for even thinking of me to interview me. Like, I was like, what? They want to interview me?
Oh, no. My pleasure.